Meteorologist Matthew East back in the saddle with you this morning. This is the August 30th, Monday edition of the Carolina Weather Video. A lot to discuss with you. I'm going to get into Hurricane Earl in great detail here in just a couple of moments. First, let's talk about our weather specifically here across the Carolinas, and things are quiet this morning. It's actually a pretty comfortable start in most spots. A lot of 60s for temperatures in the Piedmont, some 50s up in the mountains. Radar is quiet around here. The dew point temperatures, I wanted to show you this, some pretty low dew points, relatively speaking, in place. So it's going to be hot the next few days. We have an upper level ridge centered right overhead, and this is actually peaking out at about 597 decameters. So that's a pretty significant upper level ridge across our region, but the air is very dry due to some surface high pressure. So the result's going to be really kind of a desert-like air mass here for the next several days, some hot temperatures. As well as very low levels of humidity during the afternoon. That's the upper air chart today. Let's go out to Thursday evening, and yeah, there's Earl threatening the Carolina coast, and then a pretty significant trough digs in for the Labor Day weekend. Let's take this day by day. Today is going to be a dry day, a day with lots of sunshine, pretty hot, some low 90s for highs out in the Piedmont, and very low levels of humidity. I think we're looking at mid to maybe even a few upper 90s tomorrow. Still very, very low levels of humidity and lots of sunshine. There comes Earl, bottom right-hand part of your screen there. And again, stay tuned. I'll talk much more about Earl in just a second. I think we're looking at a dry day Wednesday. Highs still into the 90s, still low humidity. Thursday's a day that the interaction with Earl would take place. Right now, looks like the impacts for Earl certainly would stay east of Interstate 95. But this could be a big deal for the Carolina coast. Again, stay tuned. More on Earl in just a second. Friday, still pretty hot, low to mid-90s, but it's a pretty strong cold front. Really, that looks like the first real cold front of the year, of the season rather, will come on through. And the result should be some delightful weather for Labor Day weekend. There's Saturday, there's Sunday, and I think we're looking at some 80s for highs, maybe lower side of the 80s for highs by Sunday. And lows well down into the 60s, maybe even a few Piedmont spots seeing some upper 50s for lows at some point Sunday or Monday morning. That will be nice. All right, let's shift gears here. Let's talk about Earl. There's the infrared satellite imagery this morning. Earl really beginning to intensify, the convection really blowing up, and a nice shot here. Let this load up. There's the St. Martin radar loop, and notice a pretty well-defined eye, and this has really been trying to tighten up here as we've gone through this morning. So Earl is already a strong Category 2. I think very soon Earl will become a Category 3 hurricane. All the modeling does make Earl at least a Category 3. Some modeling takes Earl up to Category 4 intensity. And really looks like for the next couple of days, all systems are a go for strengthening. Now, I do want to throw this one fly in the ointment. This is that Saharan air layer strength, that dry air. Now, the Saharan layer air as well in the eastern Atlantic, that's playing a role with 97L, keeping it from developing right now. But notice all this dry air that's in place here in our area. That does extend well down into the western Atlantic. So it is possible Earl could wind up ingesting some of that drier air. If it does, that would certainly inhibit strengthening. That remains to be seen. But I just wanted to throw that as a possibility out there. Now let's talk about track. The computer model is really pretty tightly clustered here in a track anywhere from near the Outer Banks to well west of Bermuda. Let's take some of the specific models here one by one. There's the Canadian. This is Thursday evening, and we're looking at a track there that's very close to the North Carolina Outer Banks. The European Ensemble is farther east with its track. The European Operational a little tucked in closer to the coast. In fact, there's a look at the European Operational for Thursday evening, and it's certainly pretty close to the North Carolina Outer Banks. Here's the GFDL. I showed its peak intensity here. It has Earl all the way down at 926 millibars. Obviously a very, very powerful hurricane. And there's the Hurricane Wharf, its closest pass to the coast there. Again, it's relatively close to the Outer Banks. And finally, this is the No Gaps. Offshore, but close to the Outer Banks. So the general idea here, certainly tremendous surf and rip current issues are coming all up and down the eastern seaboard. Still some lingering effects from Danielle in that regard, and Earl will really be churning up those waters here as we go through this week. In terms of the Carolina coast, I do think it needs to be very closely monitored, the progress of Earl. This could make a very, very close pass to the coast of North Carolina Thursday, later in the day into Thursday night. Maybe, can't even rule out a direct impact from Earl. It's close. It's within that margin of error. So it needs to be closely monitored, Earl's progress here over the next couple of days, and really all the way up the eastern seaboard, up through the Delmarva Peninsula, the Jersey shore. All those areas need to closely monitor the progress of Hurricane Earl here over the next several days. And disturbance behind at 97L, it's really battling that Saharan air layer right now, and a lot of the modeling really is backed down on the intensity of what 97L can become. So we'll see. That really right now is kind of looking like Earl will be the main feature to talk about this week for sure. All right, that's it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thanks for watching. Have a great Monday, and God bless.